Omid Kobi did a piece on why tone-deaf royal tours have had their day. And I want to share it with all of you. And members of the squad, we've seen how disastrous the Cambridge's tour has been. Even Sophie Wessex and Edward, things are clearly not going well for the royal family. I believe it's karma. Karma for what they did to Prince Harry and Meghan, for their treatment of Harry and Meghan. And until they make it right with Harry and Meghan, until they stop bullying Prince Harry and Meghan, they will have disaster after disaster in their royal tours of countries that clearly want to abolish the UK monarchy. Time and time again, Edward, Sophie Wessex, Prince William, Kate Middleton, the countries that the Queen still has as the head of state, still heads as the head of state, they all want to abolish the monarchy. Some countries have said, hey look, after the Queen passes away, we all want to abolish the monarchy as the head of state. We want nothing to do with them. Some of them have even called for reparations. Reparations, they want justice, they want reparations. They want a formal apology from the royal family for the part they played in slavery, for the treatment, for the poor, ill treatment of their ancestors. And now, the squad, let me start reading to you this piece. Now, members of the squad, and I quote, "But as the Cambridge's ill-fated tour of the Caribbean in March proved, these trips by members of the royal family no longer do. Billed as a charm offensive to show up support for the monarchy across the islands, the colonial throwbacks and poorly advised photo ops ended up having the opposite effect on the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Belize, who have all individually expressed the desire to become republics." Members of the squad, we can never forget those pictures of Prince William and Kate Middleton attempting to greet children who had been removed from their classes just for Cambridges to get their photo op. And even in their photo op, it was such a disaster of taking pictures with kids next to cages, fences. It was such a disaster, black kids next to fences, such a disaster. And no one can ever forget those horrible, horrendous photos of Prince William and Kate Middleton. It's like, no wonder they lack diversity. No wonder they don't have someone to tell them that these photo ops that you're doing right now are wrong. Now, members of the squad, as I continue this article, damage control began before the wheels of William and Kate's plane had even hit the tarmac in the UK, with Kensington Palace ADs eagerly briefing journalists that lessons have been learned and next time the itinerary will be more mindful. But while a revised lineup of engagements may help somewhat tired formula of royal walkabouts, ceremonial welcomes, and cultural events, it doesn't solve the other problem affecting the monarchy on tour, the royals themselves. Last week, the cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda looked on in horror as Prince Edward in the country with the Countess of Wessex on behalf of the Queen laughed off an opportunity to engage in meaningful conversation with Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who had sat with the couple for several minutes to explain the need for reparatory justice and the lasting impact that the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism has had on the islands. Edward said this. I wasn't keeping notes, so I'm not going to give you a complete answer. Edward chuckled before sidestepping the issues completely. The royal family clearly is out of touch. Out of touch. The level of entitlement, the level of privilege and entitlement that they have is truly, truly too much that they are out of touch with common people. As I said in my previous podcast, that they may call it the Commonwealth, but clearly the wealth was never shared with the common people. It was only a preserve for the royal family, the monarchy, the institution, but not with the common people. Now, given this painfully awkward moment had been preceded by a letter from the country's Reparation Support Committee, referring to the royal family's previous phony sanctimony over slavery, the Earl of Wessex Tactless response not only lacked diplomacy, but was also a show of complete disregard for a country that had respectfully welcomed them with open arms. It was also a diss to protesters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who less than 24 hours earlier had stood outside a cocoa plantation the couple were visiting with banners reading "Compensation Now" and Britain, your debt is outstanding. Any hope that Edward and Sophie, or at least their advisors, had learned from the Cambridge's problematic Caribbean travels quickly went out of the window. Instead, the trip, once filled with potential to show that the firm could be empathetic and move with the times, became a series of pretty photographs as the couple smiled, waved, and danced their way across the islands, their lasting impact being the framed portrait of themselves. A bizarre custom on royal visits. Imagine gifting a prime minister of a country a picture and autographs of yourselves. The level of entitlement of the royal family is truly, truly too much. Too much. The tabloids may lie to them so much, but outside of the UK, truly they are out of touch with the common people. They are out of touch. Now, Omens Kobi continues by saying this. I can understand why there has been a reluctance for members of the royal family to engage in conversations about Britain's legacy of slavery across the Caribbean, beyond it being abhorrent, which, let's be honest, is far from the apology that people are waiting for. For the royals to engage in conversation about the issue would be to also acknowledge that the family's empire came to power and wealth in part by enslaving Africans and forcing them to work in colonies. It also means that the Windsor royals would need to acknowledge that their very existence is also in part the result of over 300 years of devastating atrocities led by some of their predecessors. But as people across the world continue to learn about the importance of dismantling structural racism, it's essential that these uncomfortable conversations are had by all. The Queen has said herself that for the monarchy to survive, it must evolve with the times and reflect modern day values. If not for the countries they visit, her children and grandchildren should at the very least be trying to uphold those principles to honor the monarchy's 70-year reign. Imagine how different these tours would have looked if the two couples arrived proactively, looking to meet with and learn from those leading demonstrations instead of ignoring them. Imagine the lasting impact it could have had, not just on each country, but on his legacy as king in the making. If Prince William had gone a step further than saying slavery should have never happened and actually expressed remorse for colonialism, slavery, and the destruction of black families. But he didn't. He never did. Because even now, as we speak, Prince William, Kate Middleton, the firm, the institution of the monarchy, is going after the mixed race woman who married into the royal family, Meghan. They have not stopped going hard after her. They're bullying her, they're insulting her, they're defaming her in an attempt to completely ruin Meghan. But despite breaking Meghan, Meghan continues to thrive. She continues to fly higher and higher. No weapon formed against Prince Harry and Meghan has been able to prosper. That's why, despite so many years of this mere campaign that keeps on ongoing and doesn't seem to end, doesn't appear to end, they have never been able to destroy Prince Harry and Meghan. They've never been able to take down Harry and Meghan, to tarnish their reputations. Because Prince Harry and Meghan command a huge following. People from all across the world love them. The royal family's attempts at making them hated is clearly failing, and it's failing miserably. Later this month, Prince Charles will acknowledge the abuse of thousands of indigenous children by Canada's now dismantled residential school system during a tour with Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall. After copying Prince Harry has included the indigenous community in Canada as part of the hybrid games set to take place in 2025 for the Invictus Games. They are clearly trying to copy Prince Harry. But with the royal family being out of touch, you can be sure about one thing. Every single thing that the royal family continues to do from now on, it will always fail. They are out of touch with the common people. Now, as I continue, it's an important moment that will include time with indigenous leaders and community members in the spirit of reconciliation. As one of the only family members aside from the Queen to truly master the art of diplomacy, I can see why Charles has been tasked with such a sensitive trip. I mean, Prince William and Kate Middleton have failed. Sophie Wessex and Edward have failed. And now, apparently, the tabloids and the farm are clinging their hope onto Prince Charles, a failed husband to the late Princess Diana and a failed father to Prince Harry. If Prince Charles has failed his own child, what can he do for the indigenous community that have suffered at the hands of the atrocities committed by the institution of the monarchy? Now, the purpose of these visits, Omid continues by saying this, particularly in the Commonwealth, is often to strengthen relations between Britain and the host countries. But as more members of the realm announce plans to make like Barbados and divorce the crown, St. Kitts and Nevis being the most recent to announce plans to review its monarchical system of government, it's time for other traveling members of the family to realize they might be doing more harm to the royal establishment than good, especially William and Kate Middleton. And for palace officials, it's time to accept that the royal tour as we know it is in dire need of a trip to the drawing board. And that is a piece by Omid Scobie on why tone-deaf royal tours have had their day. Members of the squad, like all of you, as a black man, I saw in horror of the fact that Prince William and Kate Middleton greeted black children next to fences. It was so disturbing. It reminded us of the atrocities committed by the monarchy during slavery and colonialism. It reminded us and showed us that when Prince William and Kate Middleton are in the UK next to white people, even they don't shake the hands of white people next to fences. There's a stark difference in how they treat black people and white people, and we can see that clearly. We can very, very much see that. We can also see the royal family's treatment of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, the abhorrent treatment of Prince Harry and Meghan, which continues to this day. They constantly vilify, abuse Prince Harry and Meghan. Think about this. Prince William went on a trip to the Commonwealth. A disastrous trip. Very disastrous. And he lamented and was angry about the reception that they received at the Commonwealth. But yet, according to Prince William and Kate Middleton and the farm, Harry and Meghan were expected to take so much abuse and vilification from the tabloids and keep quiet and not say anything. When Prince William and Kate Middleton, Prince William couldn't even take the bad press he received as a result of the Commonwealth tour. That was so disastrous, completely disastrous. Every single country they visited, from Jamaica, they all wanted reparations. They wanted the monarchy to pay reparations to them. They wanted an apology for slavery and for the monarchy to account for its actions against black people, which Prince William and Kate Middleton would never be able to offer black people reparations. Yet, slave owners back in the UK were paid because they lost their slaves. Think about that for a second. Slave owners were paid, but yet they refused to pay the victims whom they harmed. They refused to pay up reparations to black people, descendants of slaves, in Jamaica, in every single country that the Queen still has as the head of state at the Commonwealth. And I'm hoping that one day the royal family will account for all the atrocities that it has committed against black people. And even now, it still commits those atrocities against Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. They constantly can't stop bullying Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and it needs to end. I condemn the bullying of Prince Harry and Meghan, which continues to happen day in, day out, every single day. They cannot stand the fact that Prince Harry married a mixed race woman and actually dares to protect his mixed race wife and children. They cannot stand it. And I condemn the bullying of Prince Harry and Meghan. I condemn it. And I'm hoping that one day there'll be justice for us black people for what the monarchy has done to us, our ancestors. And one day there'll be justice for Meghan and Prince Harry for what has been done to them. And that one day there'll be justice for Princess Diana. The royal family has a long list of people that it has harmed, and there needs to be accountability. The level of human rights atrocities committed by the colonial government is too much, a lot, with the monarchy supporting those atrocities, benefiting financially from those atrocities. The crown jewels the monarchy holds, stolen from different countries, South Africa, India. There needs to be accountability one day. And no amount of tour can tell us that this wealth the royal family promised is common. The wealth has only been the preserve of the queen, the monarchy, the institution. It has never been for the common people. Never. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for daily and consistent content. I hope you learned a lot about this piece by Omid Scobie. And stay tuned to our next video. Love you family, always and forever. God bless you all. Hello, members of Zesco Family TV. First of all, I want to say thank you for all your support that you give us to our channel. We don't take it for granted that you support this channel. I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for lending out your support and fighting against injustices, supporting Prince Harry and Meghan, showing them love. Love will always triumph over evil, and for that I say thank you. Good will always prevail over bad. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for joining this community, this amazing community of Zesco Family TV. I love you so much, family, from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you all the best. May you have a great day, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and learned a lot of things. With that and so much more, stay tuned to our next video. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe. Love you, family, always and forever. Sayonara.